been 2 years since Zillow has gone public. So what has the company learned? When joining me now is the CEO, Spencer Rascoff. So what have you learned in this last 2 years? What's the biggest lesson?
The biggest lesson is don't pay attention to the stock. I tell my employees this every day. What the stock price is doing today, next week, next quarter, doesn't matter. What matters is where's the stock 10 years from now. So the advice I give to people that are going public is don't let employees obsess about the stock price because it just doesn't matter. Focus on the customer, focus on the product, and over the long term, the stock price will take care of itself.
Mark Zuckerberg said when the biggest lesson he learned from Facebook going public was he had to look at his company totally different because he was used to being on the inside, but now he had to take an outsider's look in.
It is an underappreciated benefit of being public. Being forced to describe your company and communicate your company to investors can actually force a lot of important strategic insights. I mean, for us, for example, it's really forced me to rethink about how we think about the size of our addressable market. Because I've had to answer this question from investors of how many real estate agent advertisers can you have? How big will this thing get? And it forces a certain level of strategic planning that actually you don't typically do when you're still private. So I think that is definitely a benefit.
One of the things that I guess people are picking on you for right now is your expenses because they are pretty high, but you're really still a growth company, and that's traditionally what a growth company does, is they spend to grow.
Yeah, we're in investment mode, so we're not in profit maximization mode. We are still running very fast, spending a lot on product development, a lot on recruiting new people to join the company, and a lot on advertising. And the reason that we're doing it is we feel like it is very early days. Like the entirety of the market opportunity in front of us is so huge that what's most important today is growing revenue and growing audience. And then eventually, we'll be able to grow into our revenue and expand margin.
Do you have a roadmap for that? Is it in your 5 to 10 year plan? Where do you see that falling in?
We've told investors that when we're over $500 million in revenue, they should expect 30 to 40% EBITDA margins. So today we have single-digit EBITDA margins, but over time we'll get a lot more margin leverage as the top line grows.
So it brings us kind of full circle back to your real estate agents and people buying homes. We're starting to see things kind of flatline a little bit here. Do you think it's the price of the home or the mortgage situation?
Home values are up around 6% year over year, and we forecast they'll rise around another 4%. So home values are definitely appreciating, but the rate of appreciation is slowing.
So I saw a data point that mortgage payments were rising to 40% of people's income, which is really a worrying number. Most people should be at 30% of their income. So what does that tell us?
Well, it tells us that we still have a home ownership society, probably at the expense of a renter society. So historically, we've had around 65% home ownership rates. And during the housing bubble, it went up to around 70%. So around 5% of homeowners probably shouldn't have bought their home. When the housing correction happened, it went down to 62 or 63%. And now we're starting to float back up. People should absolutely consider renting as a perfectly acceptable alternative to buying. Not everyone should buy a home. Our fastest growing line item is actually our rentals business, which is very small but growing extremely quickly. Our biggest business is from real estate agent advertisers, where we have around 50,000 real estate agents paying us around $275 a month or a couple $1,000s a year. So those two businesses are both growing very nicely. And then our mortgage business is kind of the middle of the three in terms of size, and that's growing over 100% year over year. So all three of our businesses, agent advertising, rental revenue, and mortgages, are all growing very quickly. The most important thing for us is mobile. So when we went public 2 years ago, 20 homes were viewed every single second on mobile on Zillow. Today, 2 years later, it's 120 homes. So 6x the mobile growth in just 2 years. 60 to 70% of our usage is on a mobile device now. So that's where we're focused from a product development standpoint. That's where the audience is. That's where the audience is going. And that's our everything, mobile.
Great. Thank you.